Hey everyone, this is Karak. I'm here with vVvTime again. We're going to be looking at a best of 3 match between EgIdrA and Minigun. I honestly wish I could tell you why they were playing each other. I don't think it's ladder matches because the latter 2 games from this replay set are from MLG maps. So I don't think it was a ladder game. I'm not sure why they're playing. Wish I could tell you, but I don't know. But it's always good to see 2 of the top players on the US ladder. EgIdrA, of course, one of the best Zergs in the world, and Minigun, someone who's really had a great rise to fame in the beta and through StarCraft 2 with his really great Protoss play. With me is Time. Time is in the Grandmaster League on ladder. He is a Protoss player. You said you're ranked around like what, 90 right now, Time?
Yeah, I think I'm like 94 right now.
Keep bragging. Be honest, I'm actually around rank 6 right now in my Diamond League, but I am around rank 6, which is definitely higher than 90. But Time is a member of vVv, a really great StarCraft clan. And you've played both these players before?
Yeah, I played EgIdrA. I beat him in the first game because he tried to cheese me, and then he's beaten me like every other time since then. And then Minigun, I used to be able to go even with him, but not anymore. He's gotten a lot better.
Yeah, he's a very excellent player. And we can see that EgIdrA is the green Zerg up here in the upper left, and Minigun, of course, the red Protoss in the lower right. Out of EgIdrA, we do see he's up to about 15 drones. And he is going to take a pull first, or is he going to take a hatch first? We'll see. It does look like he's going to be going for a hatchery here, and we can see that Minigun is going forge first. This generally results in some sort of shenanigans. As a Protoss, you come up this ramp, you see a hatch first, you have a forge down. What's your immediate reaction here?
Well, if you can get that 3 pylon wall, that's pretty much like GG right there. So that's what the first thing I'm trying to do.
And if for whatever reason, say he has a drone patrolling and you can't put the pylon down, are you still going to try to just throw up cannons randomly in the natural, or does it have to be a sort of wall off?
That's not really going to work against somebody like EgIdrA. He's going to know to pull enough drones to defend against it. So I'll probably just try to get my Nexus up, play a little bit greedy. And
we do see that, as you say that, Minigun does put his Nexus up, so it doesn't appear like there'll be any cannon rush. I would say it's pretty much too late at this point. As the spawning pool is over halfway done, and EgIdrA would conceivably be able to deal with it, and we can see Minigun just has this probe rallied around in a circle. So EgIdrA does successfully get the hatch first down. Where do you feel that puts you as a Protoss player when you see a hatch first out of a Zerg player and your forge fast expanding? Do you feel like you're on even footing, ahead, behind?
I think you might be a little bit behind if they go hatch first and you go forge and then Nexus, but it's pretty even.
And we can see that he is throwing down the gateway right next to the forge here on the SimCity. Very standard so far. And we can see that EgIdrA is making 2 queens, just 2 lings, and he has taken his gas and is now saturating it. So, very standard play from both players. EgIdrA, of course, wanting to minimize the number of larvae needed with only 2 lings coming out. We can see Minigun sneaking this probe down around here. Perhaps going to try to place a proxy pylon or just hide him later to see if EgIdrA maybe will take a quick third at this location and Minigun will be aware of it. We can see from Minigun, he's got a cannon going up the main. He's only taken 1 gas so far at his main base. And his natural Nexus has now finished, and he's going to keep running those probes out. If we look at the Harvest account, we can say it is even for both players right now. Obviously, it's a very high economy build for both of them, with EgIdrA droning hard. He is researching speed, metabolic boost for Zerglings, and he's pulled guys off gas there. So he'll be able to have excellent map control of the Zerglings, and with the far spawn positions, he'll be able to see Minigun coming from a far way away. And we can see that Minigun has now just taken a 2nd gas at the main here. Would you say that's a pretty standard with the 2 gases right away, or maybe the 2nd gas lagging a bit behind?
I would say that with that later 2nd gas, I wouldn't be expecting tech. I would expect maybe a 6-gate all-in or 5-gate all-in or something like that.
And we can see EgIdrA here is producing a few more Zerglings, and they're spreading them out along the map. We can see the proxy pylon right here will be immediately spotted and will not be canceled, so EgIdrA will get that, and this probe will eventually be taken out. And EgIdrA has indeed taken the quick third down here at his 4th location. Of course, it's kind of difficult to take the 3rd up here on Tal'Darim because of the location of the rocks, and it just would take forever for 3-4 Zerglings to break those rocks down. And this 3rd down here, honestly, with the long spawn positions, is fairly easily protected by EgIdrA, and he'll have pretty excellent map control and be able to, for Minigun to come over here and attack it, he'll have to leave his main wide open. So EgIdrA will obviously have the threat of a counterattack. We can see Warp Gate is being researched, and we can see that +1 ground weapons is being chrono boosted out. What does that indicate to you? Just some sort of 6-gate attack coming?
Yeah, definitely, especially since he's scouted this 3rd from EgIdrA. It's going to be pretty much impossible for EgIdrA to get creep over there, so it's going to be really hard to defend.
And we can see IgIdra does see the Forge being chrono boosted. Is it possible that's any other sort of build, or is IgIdra going to be pretty sure at this point that he's going to see a 6-gate come?
He's probably expecting a 6-gate. He knows that Minigun thinks that third base is going to be weak, and he sees that +1.
And we can see that IgIdra has taken 2 more gases. He's thrown down an evolution chamber. And is getting his lair. So I would expect possibly to see him research Burrow, +1 attack. There goes +1 attack, and then I would assume that the Roach Warren will be getting Roach speed as soon as that comes out. We can see that the third is now up. Nothing quite out there yet. IgIdra did pop out a third queen back at home. I assume that queen will be dropping creep tumors and making her way, oh, so slowly, getting lapped by the drones here over to the third base. Back at Minigun space, we can see a robotics facility has just gone up. Is that a standard part of the 6-gate, along with the Twilight Council? What do you think of that?
This looks like it might be another one of those like 6-gate all-ins with the Blink and the Observer, like we saw in the last game.
Which, of course, is pretty powerful, even against Burrowed Roaches, because it pretty much takes Burrow completely out of the equation. The strength of Burrow is, as a Zerg player, when they come up with that 6-gate, of course, one of the strengths of the 6-gate is that they're going to have a sentry-heavy force. They're going to be able to use force fields very effectively, box your roaches up, or cut your reinforcements off, and then pick your army off a third or a half at a time. So even if you have a supply advantage, you'll have a strategic disadvantage. However, with Burrow, as soon as the force fields go down, you just burrow and wait it out. But with this build here, we'll have the Blink Stalkers, which have excellent mobility. We'll be able to go blink them back one at a time in order to maximize the value of his roaches, or possibly blink into the main, do some harassment, and blink out. And of course, with the Observer, it pretty much renders Burrow completely out of the equation. However, at the same time, that also really delays the strength and timing of the push, I would say, because that's a lot of gas to spend, not only on the Observer, but on the robotics facility and Blink Tech as well.
Right, I mean, it is a lot of gas to spend, but before people started adding this robotics, Zerg players were just getting Burrow, and they were able to play a lot more greedy because of it. And now that people have gotten this robotics and started getting Observers, you really punish that. Also, it gives you a chance to get Immortals, which Minigun is doing here.
And we can see... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, and he wants to get that +2 weapon attack before he attacks, and that gives you time to build that robotics and delay the push.
And we can see IgIdra hasn't even researched Burrow, so it sort of makes it a non-issue. You see, Minigun does have a pretty viable force coming over here to the third. It's not quite connected with Creep yet, but Glial Reconstitution, or Roach Speed, is done. And IgIdra obviously does have a huge supply advantage right now, but Roaches are pretty supply inefficient units, and those Sentries are pretty darn good. Of course, Immortals are just completely destroy Zerg Roaches, and we can see that he is rallying some units in, and there was an Immortal in production. I assume it will be making its way over pretty soon with the main force. You see the proxy pylon going down. We do have an engagement out here in the open. Of course, out in the open, the force fields aren't quite as effective, but he does manage to half IgIdra's army in half, and he is picking the Roaches off one by one. This is really, really well microed by Minigun. Excellent force fields here.
Yeah, those force fields were quite good, and he lost, I think, only 1 or 2 Stalkers and killed probably like 10 Roaches.
Right, and even with IgIdra with this huge supply advantage, Minigun just, the force fields, really great force fields here, putting the Roaches in half, making them escape, and then picking them off one by one. And we can see that Minigun's force does seem to outnumber IgIdra's at this point with the Immortal in the back. It's just way too powerful. It's going to do all sorts of damage to those Roaches. Even as IgIdra tries to push up in here, he is just absolutely getting decimated. He's only rallying 6 Roaches in. Minigun is going to continue sending Immortals and Stalkers in, and as those Zerg units only trickle in one by one, that's just not going to be very effective against this Protoss army. And we can see IgIdra does leave the game without a GG, of course, so characteristic of him. So what do you think of IgIdra's defense here? Is there anything he could have done better or differently to handle that push in a different manner?
Well, at the end of the game, we can see that he had 940 minerals and 150 gas, so that means he probably could have had a few more Roaches out. He also, maybe he should have avoided going up that ramp and getting force fielded. He should have stayed back further where he has a better concave, and force fields aren't as effective. I think those two things probably would have let him hold there.
Yeah, and it did seem that he just sort of haphazardly ran his Roaches in there, and he didn't have Burrow, of course. Now, he doesn't know that it wouldn't matter because of the robotics facility, or perhaps he just sort of anticipated that would happen. But when you run your Roaches in there like that, you just almost have to know that they're going to get cut off. You really have no choice. I mean, you maybe pressure the front of the Protoss base to split their army up, trade your third for their entire base or something, but just to run in there and let him, gift him the army with the force fields doesn't seem to make much sense. So we're going to go on to Game 2 between these two, and hopefully you check it out. Thank you.